Hey, my friends, today I'm going to show you 3 secret rooms in WoW Classic that I'll share a very clever game design aspect. First one is really well known. The second one's a little more obscure and part of one of the coolest encounters in the game. And the third one is a complete mystery to me. I have no idea what it's for, and I would love to hear your theory. So starting off, of course, this is the Stormwind model. And again, this one's pretty well known. As you know, when you mage port into Stormwind, you end up in this room in the mage tower and go through the portals and out into the city. But if we look at the Stormwind model here, it's pretty easy to see that the big portal in room wouldn't fit in this tower. And when we look inside the tower, we see the initial part of the tower that you land in after you've gone through the circular portal. But even if we go into the other portions of the tower, we can see they're just empty. And that's because the room we actually poured into is here, roughly 200 yards below the mage quarter and directly below the section of the tower where it sort of is pretending to be. And my understanding of why this is that it's so that your character shows up at the right spot on the maps for either yourself or a party member. But the magical room here can be much bigger than would actually fit into the tower. And you might know this is actually a popular like low-level mage speedrunning strat to jump down below Stormwind here, run over to this open section in the terrain, and jump into the room for a little time save so that you can go train. So there you go. That is hidden room number 1. Room 2 is the same idea, but I think even more interesting. So you might know that when fighting Cthulhu at the end of AQ40, certain players will be eaten by this giant tentacle here, like this. And then you're taken into this disgusting stomach where you have to negotiate a digestive acid stacking debuff while destroying 2 large stomach tentacles. And then once those are destroyed, that lets him be damaged by the main raid once the players that are in the stomach jump onto this little platform here and get spit back out, and they can help with the kill. And again, from like an encounter perspective, you'd be right inside the big model of Cthulhu here while fighting. But again, let's look at the AQ40 raid model, which is here. Again, it's one of my favorite models in the game. And just orienting ourselves real quick, you have the big oval chamber where you fight Cthulhu, and Prophet Scarum would be on the outside. This big section would be where you fight Oro, if you choose to. It's optional. This triangle is, of course, where Twin Emps is. And if you ever looked up while fighting the Vecnus trash, you can see the sky outside, which is why these openings are here. And then again, here is Cthulhu's chamber, and he'd be right in here. And like Stormwind, if we look under that portion of the model, we see this disgusting stomach room. It almost looks like a brain from the outside, but this is the stomach. You can do a quick look inside. And again, this room is roughly 200 yards, 200 in-game yards below the main Cthulhu chamber, which ensures that players in the dungeon show up in the right spots on their map, but they're out of range from the main raid for like heals and other interactions. So there you go. That is hidden room number 2. And our last one is here in BWL. This is the BWL dungeon model, and obviously this would be the balcony where you fight Nefarian. And just to orient real quick, look, over here is this slanted hallway where we zone in. This would be Razor's room. And then, yeah, over here, this octagon room would be where Chromag starts. And Duskcaster's stand down here, and he's tanked up here. But back to the balcony. Again, if we angle down below the model, we have this room directly below where Neff would land. And it's just this like nondescript square or almost cube room with an opening like doorway on one side and then another side that is completely open. And if we swap over to the actual live instance, so here we are, we're starting off inside the instance, but outside of the dungeon model. And incidentally, if you ever wanted to see a deep dive into BWL, the map and the model and how it all works, you could check out my BWL Exposed video. But here, if we angle down below Neff's balcony, clip inside, sure enough, like here is the 3rd secret room down below. And of course, my question to any of you is, what the heck? Like, what is this for? You know, if we go directly straight up from the room, we can see it's actually situated directly below where Neff would land or be tanked. So like maybe it was for some planned class call where the tank would be put in prison or something, I don't know. And then Blizzard changed their minds. Anyway, if you have a theory or you know the answer, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But those are our three secret rooms that sort of share the aspect of purporting to be in one spot, but actually being directly below that spot, which is how I chose these. And honorable mention, of course, would go to the GM Island jail room here. It's situated below GM Island, but that's no longer in any live version of the game, but it followed sort of that same design philosophy of being down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I really appreciate you watching. If you don't mind clicking like, that's awesome. Hope you have a great day.